Welcome to Dire.Wolf.Wargaming. This is Dante. Today I'll be painting and basing my Chieftain for my Germanic Tribes Warband for SPQR. I've undercoated my figures with a dark brown undercoat and then dry brushed a lighter brown over the top. It's more suitable for my colour palette that I'm going for with these, and I think it helps add a good overall effect to them. So to start with, I'm doing all the flesh, and I'm using a bit of a pale flesh for my Germanic tribes. I think it lends itself really well to the figures and will help the body paint pop later. It'll get dulled down slightly once the brown washes over, and any little mistakes I make with getting the flesh on other parts of the figure that shouldn't be will all be tidied up as I go along. Now I'm doing all of the metal work. I'll start with a good metal type colour, which I'm going over the weapons with. I like the darker look to it, and I like that when the silver goes on the edge, it makes the weapons look sharp and deadly. The gold I'm using to do other things like bangles and chokers and the hilts and pommels of the swords. Now moving on to the furs, I've chosen a dark brown and a lighter brown. I'll dry brush both of these a bit later on, either with a tannish colour or a grey, so that it gives the fur a bit of extra detail. And then I'll be moving straight onto the hair. I've chosen a ginger for the standard bearer and a blonde colour for the Chieftain. I quite like the look of the Germanics with fair coloured hair like that. And for the severed heads, the one's got dark brown hair and the other one's got black hair. Again, I use all four colours for my Germanic tribes, as I shown in my last video. Now moving on to the clothes, I'm just keeping it to a more natural colour palette like I did with the first batch, and like I'll be doing for the whole project. The colours I've chosen here as the only real colours that you can see are the trousers, the headband on the Chieftain, and like an armband on the standard bearer. So for the Chieftain I went for like a burnt orange type trousers, and for the standard bearer I went for a bit of a lighter green style trousers. The headband I've decided to do a nice bright blue, and I've went for a red armband on the standard bearer. All I'm doing now is just adding some nice bright red around the neck area of the severed heads, down the pole slightly, and around the mouth and nose area, just to make it look like they really did suffer before being beheaded by these barbarians. And then one of the final stages of painting my figures normally would be just doing the leather work and the woodwork. I like to use a nice mid brown for this, and then again all the colours I'm using will be dulled down ever so slightly when the brown wash goes over, so it'll have a nice effect on it. And then I'm moving on to the body paint, which is a nice dark, almost black grey. Specifically it's Necromancer's Cloak from Army Painter, and I'm just covering over large areas of them. Like on the Chief I've done one full arm, but left his hands. I've done like over his biceps and down his abs as well. And on the Standard Bearer I've done his hands black and half of his face black as well, and I've also given the Chieftain some eye black on diagonal from his eyes. Inspiration behind the body paint really is just I've looked at the Germania book by Warlord Games, looked at the way they've done some of their body paint. And I'm using some gel pens to add extra lines to the clothing, and I really like doing this on my figures. I think that once it's all finished it really does make a really great effect on them. And I think that Celts and Germanic tribes and Gauls, they really do need the lines down the clothing and the plaid and things like that on them, and this is a nice, accurate, easy way to do it. I'm using water-based gel pens, so if I do make any mistakes I can just get a damp brush and then remove them. So all I'm doing now is just putting some solvent based varnish over my pen work. This is because they are water based pens, and when I put the wash over I don't want to totally eradicate all my hard work on them. I could use solvent based gel pens, but if I make any little mistakes I'll then have to touch up over the legs with, say, the green on the Chieftain if I made any mistakes there. But if it's water based it won't matter, I can just use a damp brush. And now I'm applying a nice brown wash, same as last time, just thinned down a bit more this time. It'll match in exactly the same as my others. And it really does make the figure come alive when the brown wash goes over, I think. And it's one of my favourite stages of painting any figure. This stuff dries pretty matte, but I'll be going over it straight after with some acrylic Vallejo matte varnish, just to seal it all together, make sure there's no little bits of gloss showing anywhere random. Now that the figures are totally painted and varnished, I'm going to be starting the basing, and I'm using a nice brown texture paint to go over the base. I really like the effect of texture paint, and I've only started using it recently. Before that I was using proper base text to go over them, or sanding glue depending upon what I was basing. And after this I'll be dry brushing it, and then I'll be moving on to flocking it. So the dry brushing is literally just dry brushing the base with some lighter brown just to give it a bit more detail. And now I'm just applying some glue onto the base, and I'm going to be dipping it into a sawdust based flock mix, and this is a mix of different shades of green. I think it looks really nice. I use it on a lot of figures. And now I'm just putting a little bit of PVA onto the bottoms of some sponge bushes just to finish off the base, and that's it. A nice, quick, easy, simple basing method. So here they are, all finished. Really enjoyed painting these, just like the nobles. And the next video will probably be my tribesmen for the warband. There's 20 of them, and then all I've got left to do after them is the cavalry. There's some still images of them after this. I'm looking forward to starting the next batch of them. I've also got some other stuff planned. I've got an unboxing video coming soon of some Wargames Atlantic figures. I hope you enjoyed the video. Visit us on Dire.Wolf.Wargaming to see our fantastic MDF products, pictures from previous projects, our painting service too. We're also on Instagram, Dire.Wolf.Wargaming. Follow us on there to keep up to date with everything we're doing. Don't forget to like and share the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe and join the pack.